Good to see you, Travis. How do you do, man?
I'm doing good.
Right on, right on. And we're here. We're gonna talk about your your love for skateboard, pretty much today. So I'm gonna ask you this question first. I'm gonna bring it right out. Do you remember the first time, first skateboard you got?
First skateboard I got. Oh, that's. I'll break that question down a little bit farther.
Cool.
So, to the first skateboard I got, I was 7, and my grandma had 3 skateboards at her house that all the cousins and all her grandkids and everybody had to share. And of course, hardly any of them skated, so they're always just sitting there collecting dust. But there's 2 banana boards. They're the old plastic fiberglass kinds, just small little boards, probably just like 4 inches wide. And so 2 of them were that, the banana style, and then she had one generic, like Nash style Walmart board, and the bearings in it were horrible. So I always preferred to pick up the banana boards and cruise on those, because the banana boards, they're way smoother. They had old school bearings versus the generic bearings that were in that Nash board. They're bunk, so I always like to go fast, and I learned a little small banana board. So
That's awesome,
yeah,
man.
and then from there, we went ahead and took it to another place, and that's where I was on the first skateboard. That's like the first skateboard I was riding. I don't really call that my first skateboard. The skateboard that I chose for my grandmother's house. Oh my gosh. No, keep that rolling, keep that rolling. We're gonna keep it rolling. So, that's awesome. Yeah, so this is live, that's raw for you. So, the skateboard that I had from my grandmother's house, she had the 2 banana boards and the generic Nash board that barely rolled. So I snagged one of the banana boards that I liked better. It was a little plastic fiberglass, like
Banana
4 inches
slips,
wide,
man.
a little flat banana tail, a little pointed nose on it, a little bitty cruiser board. And then at my house that I had, we had a patio and a super rugged sidewalk with like 2-inch cracks in between each segment of concrete, which is pretty much unskatable. So I used the garage, when the cars were out of the garage, we had a 2-car garage. And so I pretty much just freestyle skated and learned on the banana board. And with that, over time, I wanted to skate out of the garage and started using the sidewalk of the house. And when I came out of the garage, I'd have a quick turn from where there's some stairs that went up into the back door. Then we had a patio. And then as it goes around into the patio, there's the front door. So I had, and the patio was made of the cinder block bricks, so it was totally unskatable. So I just had the patio, the little sidewalk going around the patio, comes out of the garage, goes up the stairs, curves around the patio, and then goes to the front door. And then I was blessed enough to have a 10-foot space of sidewalk with a stair that was like 6 inches. It was crazy. Just 6 inches, and then it just cut off into this driveway. But I'll lead to the point of that, what I did with it later when I get to it. When I could skate though, I skate out of the garage, and I eventually built a ramp on the corner where the patio was, and I took a flat ramp, and I took plywood, and it was so basic and so dangerous. I took a crate, and I stapled plywood to it, and I found some thinner plywood, what we refer to as like masonite, something smaller, thinner, so I could roll up onto the plywood smooth. Yep, it wasn't smooth. Had it up there, and I sat it on cinder blocks, and so it was just a flat ramp crate. It was a crate with plywood screwed into it, and then I found some metal pipe coping that was only 1 inch, so it was not even any standard size coping. It was inch plumbing pipe, old school cast iron that I nailed onto the end of the crates for the ramp that I used. And now when I skate that is awesome. And then eventually I got to the point, so I could do the freestyle in the garage, and I'd skate out of the garage. I'd go off the sidewalk, and it'd give me that speed momentum. But even though I could barely get it because there's so many cracks in the sidewalk, I usually start right there at the stairs and just go to the flat ramp right on the corner of my patio and use that. And every time you landed a trick on it, it would shake and wobble and almost fall over. But with that flat ramp there, and just with that banana board, I eventually switched it out to the Nash board so I could get onto the tricks that everyone was doing. And I guess on to a subject I'll get to here real quick before I lose where the stair was in the driveway. But I skated that ramp and that little stair, I put plywood down and I'd ollie off that stair into the driveway, which was rock, and it gave me a landing spot for to ollie off of one stair sidewalk, so it was awesome.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, so it was really cool. But what I wanted to get to was, at the time, my friends were skating regular skateboard at the time, and I was just getting into skateboarding, and I didn't know how to get a skateboard at that time. And everybody, I feel at their age, is at an age where that happens. But I was just that age where I couldn't get a skateboard, and I had mentors that I looked up to, and they all skated. And my dad's best friend had a son, and they all had a clique, and they all had what would be it would be the old school decks. It was right when the first curve came out on the nose on the concave. So I had the full tail concave deck and had a nose. So
Do you remember the model, Travis?
the
The first ones you had?
the first model deck, yeah. So that inspired me. So I wanted to get going towards skateboarding with a skateboard under my feet that was current. So my friends at that time, or I was over here and they started skateboarding. Actually, it was a little short time later. So my friends started skateboarding. I'm skating the two banana boards, the Nash board, and my friends and their clique, they're all skating. And at the time when I was younger, I was overweight, and I told them that I skated, and they were like, "No, you don't skate. You're too fat to skate." And they thought it was humorous. I was like, "No, I can ride a skateboard." And they're like, "Well, where's your skateboard?" I was like, "I got a banana board." And they all laughed at me and everything. So that led me to have to get a deck. And I remember my first deck, and it was an Alien Workshop, Bombs Away.
Oh, sweet.
It's dope. I can still picture it on mine. I haven't seen one since I've skated. Since I had mine, I've never seen one. I mean, it was baby blue, has a bomb logo with clouds in it, and then on the front of it, it had a blue arrow that just pointed straight. And it was an awesome deck. I love that deck. If I find one, I'm gonna buy one. So if anybody out there knows where a Bombs Away Alien Workshop deck is from like 90, hit me up. So the first deck was an Alien Workshop deck.
Awesome.
That's what I would call a new school board. So my first regular new school board at the time was an Alien Workshop deck. Bombs Away logo or model.
That is fantastic,
Yeah.
Travis. And the next question I've been wanting to ask you for a while now. This is like why I see a lot of passion in you. I've known you for a while, and I know your artwork. I know the deck designing and stuff you're doing, plus all the music and all. I've known you for a while, but why are you so passionate about skating? That's what I want to know.
Well, skating, it's something passionate in the means that it can be your own style. It's a fashion in order. I look at the skateboard when I'm thinking of this because it's all about that skate. It just hypnotizes me when I look at it, just because it's so strong. The skateboard and the skater have a bond. That's for sure. It definitely develops because I just can't stop staring at the skateboards. The skateboard.
I see. This is one of your designs out here.
That's the tricoat stack. That's the new model we've been getting pushed out now.
It's pretty sweet, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But as far as when the passion comes along, it's an individual sport. You can push yourself. I was into sports. I like sports to this day, but with everything going on right now, leaning towards skateboarding over team sports is a big plus. So.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
So before anything bad was happening, when you're on your skateboard, you don't have a team coach yelling at you. You don't got a pitching coach yelling at you. No, you got to throw the baseball this way. No, you got to slide this way. You got to steal the bases on these hand signals when I give them. When you got to go, it's like what? It's like why do I got to listen to all these other people at the same time? Or in games when you get penalized for the other person. It's like, well, why am I having to get penalized because of this team effort stuff? It's like, and then it was just so pushed down and driven. It's just like, no. When you're on your skateboard, it's a totally different feeling. You're free. You got freedom to the maximum. It's almost like you're riding a magic carpet in the sky when you're riding a skateboard down the sidewalk. Just cruising down the concrete with that piece of wood under your feet is the best feeling in the world. So
in other words, you feel free and independent, kind of. You have your own control to it, mostly.
Definitely,
Yeah.
and the own control part, yeah. Oh, there's so many different aspects to it as well. The more you think about it, discipline in sports, they try to teach discipline. Skateboard, yeah, may be a sport. There's so many different perspectives of it because some people refer to the skateboard as a toy or an instrument, and they consider it, once they use it a certain way, a game, and then it's considered a sport. So it's kind of into so many different mediums right now that skateboarding is just skateboarding. If they want to put it in the sports, that's cool. It can be in sports. I support it. That's awesome. If it wants to be an individual thing, I support it. That's awesome. It can branch out. It can go all ways. Skateboarding is diverse. That's the main thing behind it. Skateboarding builds diversity.
I get
That's
it.
a point I didn't even think of. But
basically, you feel when you're skateboarding or something, you're designing or whatever, you feel like you are more of you have your own, you can express yourself, right? Pretty much like
you can express yourself, and then I don't want to skip over discipline. So many things are always big on discipline. When a skateboard, when you mess up, the concrete, the brick, the wood ramp you're skating on, the screw that's sticking up out of the wood ramp, the piece of glass on the ground that you fall on, all of that stuff is going to let you know about the discipline aspect really fast when you don't do something right. So the discipline aspect is awesome. It gets you over any fears you have of minor stuff, so you can actually focus on what really matters when you're doing a trick, which makes skateboarding so complex and so great and such a commitment when you're dedicated to it. And at the same time, it just flows. It's just like water. It's just like a river, you know? Skateboarding just flows. No matter how you do it, whatever style you are, you know, freestyle, vert, street, transition, whatever you're doing,